Yes, you read the title right. I am finally doing the frequently asked questions for Archer Master, something I may or may not have promised to do since last year. Well, better late than never, so without further ado, let's get into this. What's map level? You can find your current map level by clicking on the bow icon in the top left corner. Basically, you start getting any relevant bonuses when you reach map level 8 and until map level 38. You get 1 experience point for every minute of playing time in the game on any mode. Doesn't matter which one, can be a chapter, can be endless, can be on hook mode, and on hook mode is specifically designed to just basically turn it on and AFK there. Sadly, you can't really do more than roughly 1.5 hours at a time because the game just sort of closes itself. But it still counts, surprisingly. It doesn't work on any other mode if you just exit out of the game without finishing the game first. But on hook mode, it works. So that's a plus. If you do not pity your computer, you can always record a macro to restart the on hook mode lobby every hour or so and just copy and paste what you got after that. If your free version of the software of your choosing doesn't let you do more than, I don't know, 10 loops, for example. If you're having trouble with that, just Google some tutorials. I don't think I need to do that. There are plenty of high quality tutorials on the internet. You can also get some map experience books from playing limit mode if you're a newbie. I believe up to 3 per game. And you can also buy map experience. You can buy a book for 300 map experience for 10,000 euros, or you can buy it with real money. Depends, I guess, what you value more, your time or money. I don't recommend buying the map experience though before you've maxed out your meditating guy. Do I get pay to win bonuses for free with map level? Yes, you get everything once, all the stats that are listed on the shop page. You will get all that stuff once. However, if you choose to pay as well, you will get all those bonuses doubled. Except for the unique effects. Sadly, you can't get most of these unique effects like extra treasure books or extra treasure book choices. You can only get them if you pay for them. But you will get a lot more stats, just as a free-to-play if you're high map level. What are the differences between endless and limit modes? Endless may be called endless, but it actually ends at wave 700, while limit, I have no clue, it goes beyond 900 for sure. I don't know if there is a cap, perhaps, but seems to be infinite for now. Though, of course, you're limited by time, so I guess depends how fast you can rush. Another difference is that in endless mode, you get more time every wave until wave 50. So that game mode lasts exactly 44 minutes unless you win it faster. While limit lasts 34 minutes because you stop getting time at wave 25, I think, or 20, I'm not sure. I think it's 25. And the only way to get more time is by killing bosses every 50 waves after wave 300. You get 10 seconds every 50 waves. In regular endless mode, the bosses are tougher to kill because they get increasingly more difficult damage reduction. In limit mode, however, they are easier to kill, but they move faster towards you, which is I mean, only after wave 20 though, so don't worry about the first 20 waves. Which is actually a good thing if you're doing enough damage to kill them pretty fast, because you want things to be running towards you so that you can murder them quickly. But if you're struggling for damage, obviously bosses running at you faster might be more difficult. Though still, limit is just better than endless in every way. The drop rates are also much better. I'm going to post the drop rates right here. The last important difference between endless and limit is that you need about 1,100,000 wood for all the demon treasures for the merchant that appears at 25 minutes on endless, and then at 30 minutes once again. And you only need 700 wood. 700,000, pardon me, for limit mode. And on limit mode, the wood merchant appears at 20 minutes, so you can start saving at 15. Of course, as I was editing this video, they released a new patch which introduced a new mode. The mode is called Infernal. It's basically like limit mode, except the bosses are a lot harder to kill in higher levels because they actually get some crazy damage reduction. Unlike the regular limit mode, which is mostly capped by how fast you can kill stuff in the early game, because in the late game with pre-made parties you usually just breeze through bosses every 1.5 seconds or so, but in this mode you actually need a lot of damage to be able to kill bosses efficiently, and how high you can go is no longer determined by how fast your early game was. Now it's also determined by how lucky you are on treasures. As the damage reduction increases for bosses after wave 300, so supposedly does the probability to get much better purple items. I'm assuming by better they mean that you actually get higher chance of getting higher rolls on average, but I don't know. I guess that's true. I haven't really noticed a significant change personally, but I only played like 5 or 6 games so far, as it's still the first day after the patch. And well, I haven't found a single upgrade for any of my previously owned outfits, so I guess we'll wait and see. Maybe it's still bugged. I know it was bugged on release, but supposedly it's fixed now. So perhaps it's just slightly higher chance of getting better average rolls. The last two noteworthy things about this mode is that the final score for this mode counts double for the leaderboards. That's why you're seeing such high numbers on the leaderboards now, because those numbers were just simply not achievable on limit mode. Even if you were a beta tester and you were one-shotting bosses since second one, you probably couldn't have reached such results that people are reaching on hell mode now. And secondly, there is a higher chance of getting Abyss ticket on wave 200 and wave 500. Well, Abyss mode is still not released, but the developer is promising that they're going to release it with Season 3, which is next Wednesday. How do I unlock limit mode? I already finished 4 chapters, but I can only play endless, I can't play limit. Please help. Send help. Just scroll down. Scroll all the way down. Don't be scared of that empty space. It won't hurt you, I promise. It just so happens that during the week you can't see Autism mode and Autism Plus, which take up 2 spaces. And also, I'm assuming the developer is leaving some empty space for the Abyss mode and potentially some other mode. What is autism? How do I play it? And what's the difference between autism and autism plus? It's the weekly mode. Sometimes the rules change by a lot from week to week. Sometimes they don't change at all. Sometimes they change a little bit. Basically, regular autism is doable even if you're doing it solo. You need to clear at least 151 waves in order to get 15 tokens, activity coins, the purple things in the shop. With those coins you can buy double experience, which, mind you, activates automatically immediately after you bought it, lasts for 1 day regardless of whether you're playing or not, and it doesn't work on the unhook mode, so it only works when you're playing actively or you're selecting scavenger and just sitting AFK waiting for the game to end. You can get 15 activity coins for every 150 waves, up to 451. After that, you should just let your hero die if you still have time, or if you know that you won't have enough time to clear the next 150 waves at any point between 150 or 300, then you should just end the game and go next. Because you don't get anything for completing, I don't know, like 250. Like, you get nothing. You get the same reward as for completing 150. So don't waste your time. And for Autism Plus, if you're a newbie and you actually need this video to learn stuff about the game, so just like don't bother with it. It's too hard. It's 5 times as hard as regular autism, and basically you need at least 5 doctors to survive, regardless of what the debuff is during the week. And it's just too hard, not worth the effort. Just play regular autism, or even better, just play regular limit mode and hope that you get some activity coins from the random drop every 50 waves after wave 300, because that works too. And it's a lot easier than actually grinding Autism Plus. Oh, forgot to mention, regardless of how much you grind, the cap per day is 300 tokens. And you get 20 for 100 waves on Autism Plus, and yeah, that works up to 300. I don't think 300 is reachable though, because you can't really get income creeps in that mode. You have to rely on the shovels, so the early game is extremely slow. What heroes to play? Good question. Unfortunately, this one is gonna change a bunch. So if you're watching this a month after release, then probably my advice is gonna be completely useless. However, if you're watching this video right after it's been released, well, for now the meta seems to be some snipers, a couple of drows, and a lone druid as a support. Lone druid is now the only support, so if you want to support, you always play lone druid. Lone druid is also generally the forger boxer, typical for lone druid. The drows are only necessary for Infernal mode, because on limit mode you generally don't suffer with the damage even from snipers without the drow. Drow is only useful if you've got more time to do the damage, because it's a lot less consistent, but it does do a lot of damage when it procs. For solo play, I recommend that you just grab sniper or whatever other hero is meta in the patch and just does a lot of damage consistently. That's gonna be your hero every time. I really don't recommend that you torture yourself with heroes like Drow or Skyras because they do damage consistently even though they can do a lot of damage. It's just gonna be painful. Farming is gonna be painful, and with Drow especially, her skill basically slows down the game to a crawl, and especially if you've got 2 or 3 Drows hitting, then yeah, every second of in-game time is going to take like solid 3 or 4 seconds of real time. Don't torture yourself if you've got the option not to. How do I get gifts? Well, some are guaranteed to drop from Tiny. They drop from every second Tiny up to the 6th one, so your skill would be level 7 when you kill the last Tiny that you need to upgrade your skill. And so you get 3 from that, and if you're map level 32, or if you bought the pay to win thing, you can get 1 extra gift from the first Tiny that you kill. You can also buy some gifts. If you're not pay to win, you can buy 3, and if you bought the wings pay to win thingy from the shop, you can buy 5. So plus 2 extra gifts you get if you're pay to win. Additionally, some gifts will drop from creeps randomly on endless mode, and if you kill bosses really fast, there is no guarantee that you'll get all the gifts that you need, so that's another reason why you shouldn't play endless. On limit mode, the gifts are guaranteed to drop from the bosses. You get 1 on level 2, 5, 8, 12, and 20. And those are guaranteed. You get them every game. What items should I collect? Good question. The answer is probably going to change from patch to patch. However, more or less general guidelines I can give you is that Killer Set is probably the best set for newer players. You don't really care about the color of the set. You'd probably prefer some good early game stats on it. You don't care about the sockets because you're going to swap out your killer set for a set that actually has the right color for your hero. And you don't really care too much about the stats, just get any killer set that you can find to start with. And of course, as you go, you might upgrade it with newer additions. Another set that just got buffed is the Idler set. Now it actually guarantees that you get a stat point for every kill that someone else on your team performs. It can be good for both newer players and more experienced players. For newer players, I suppose I don't really have to explain why. It doesn't require any sort of coordination, unlike the Doctor set. It doesn't require any extra effort. You can just equip it and go to Lick Dog. You don't care about the color of the set, you don't care about the stats on the set. You just get a set and you're getting stats for free. It's pretty solid option. For more experienced players, I'm not really sure how it fits into the meta quite yet, but you do really need only 4 doctors right now for the meta composition. So the 5th person can be Idler instead of Doctor. It does give you more stats, but I feel like the kill count is still pretty low. So I'm not really sure if it's worth sacrificing an extra doctor, even though an extra doctor would only extend the duration by like 1 or 2 seconds, depending on how efficient your team is. But still, I guess we'll see later. It's only been a few hours since the new update. You also want to get a Flame Investor set, just for TA, the only hero that benefits from the set. Sadly, right now, TA's out of meta again because she's not useful in Hell mode. In Hell mode, you don't get to particularly high levels, so you can't really get your investment grade crazy high, so TA is kind of underwhelming in it. However, it's still good on limit mode and perhaps on autism as well. And just in general, she'll probably get buffed again in some way eventually, so I'd recommend you save it as well. And lastly, the doctors. Right now you need Luminosity Doctor for Sniper, you also need Cold Doctor for Drow, and I mean, the rubick just got nerfed, so maybe you don't even need Vitality Doctor anymore. But I just have a doctor of literally every color available in the game, just in case they buff or nerf certain heroes. And yeah, it does take up a lot of space, but if you get good items for a doctor that isn't necessarily needed right now, I would recommend you still save it for later, if it's like a really good item that's hard to get. Is rubick luminosity? No. I'm not really sure why people keep getting different sets confused with different heroes. Perhaps it's not really super clear on Discord, but just use this image from the Discord spreadsheet. There are up to 3 heroes per set. The different sets don't work on heroes that are not made for the set. Except for Vitality and Greed, I guess, but Vitality only heals you a little bit, and Greed only reduces the Greed cooldown, but those are not particularly useful qualities. Basically, Windranger, Troll, Shadow Fiend are Destroy set, Templar Assassin and Enchantress are Orange Flame set, Lone Druid and Rubick are the Vitality sets, Sky, Lena, and Sniper are the Luminosity sets. Careful, Lena is not the Flame set. Lena is Luminosity. I know it's confusing, but it is what it is. Crystal Maiden, Drow, and Gyrocopter are the Cold set, blue. Arc Warden and Invoker are the Greed set, pink. That's it. Sometime I suppose they will add more heroes to Flame, Vitality, and Greed, but for now, these are all the heroes and all set items. How to compare items? How do I know what items are good for me? Well, for luminosity, you know that you want your luminosity to be for Sniper. Well, in this patch. I don't know what's gonna happen in the next patch. So for Sniper, you want agility. And all stats, of course, perhaps physical crit, physical damage buff. All that stuff is good. For Vitality set, you're making that for rubick, because the other hero that is Vitality, Lone Druid doesn't actually care about wearing a Vitality set. For Lone Druid, all you care about is high HP, strength, and a lot of sockets. And that's it. Can be any color. Doesn't matter. But for rubick, you care that it's Vitality and you care that it's a Doctor set. And you also care that it gives you intelligence, perhaps magic crit, if it's a purple item, and some spell damage. That wouldn't hurt either. And of course all stats. And sockets. Yeah, don't forget sockets. On average, one socket is equal to 6% main stat. So use that metric to compare. How do I equip items? I can't seem to swap them from the backpack. This one's kinda counterintuitive. First you have to unequip the items that you have equipped, and only then you can drag the item from your backpack into your inventory. So for example, before you can equip a new boot, you have to take your boot from your inventory and either put it on the ground or drag it into the backpack. Pretty simple, but yeah, not intuitive. How do I get tier 4 purple items? Well, first of all, don't really worry too much about getting purples, because getting a good purple set is going to take you a very long time, because the drop rates, especially for newer players, are, well, not great, and when they do drop, you usually just get some random trash with terrible stats and things that you don't even need, like magical crits on an investment set. However, I know you still want them, so here's a nice little table made by Gamma of item drop rates. So as you can see, for purple item, the chance to drop it becomes 10% at wave 270. And I believe it's 35% when you summon demons. And everybody in your party will get one item drop for every demon that you kill. I mean, you summon 3 at the same time, so it's a pretty high chance to get purple items. Assuming you can kill them, of course, which in newer parties that might not be the case, and you just ended the game for your team. So probably ask your team before summoning. How much wood do I need for the demon books? Well, for endless you need a lot, but we established that you should not be playing endless because it's a shitty mode. Just play limit instead, or autism, which is the same as limit in almost everything except for the modifiers. So yeah, for limit you need 700,000 wood to buy all 6 of the treasures, 3 left books, which you can use instantly, and 3 of the right books, which allow you to summon Roshans, which you have to kill, and then you can use the books. If you think you can't kill Roshans, then I just recommend that you don't summon any, and only buy the left books. Maybe don't even buy 3 because the third one is pretty expensive, and if you're struggling to kill Roshans, you probably need the wood to use for your boxer. So just buy 2 treasures and hopefully you get lucky. What demon books are good? What should I get? After a few of the recent updates, most of the horrifying stuff that you could get that could absolutely fuck up your game is gone. So that's pretty nice. So the only things you have to be slightly cautious of are probably the demon summon thing. If your party is kind of weak, or if you're playing solo, you might just die to them. And or best case scenario, if you still can't kill them, then you just waste a minute of your time not really doing anything. So yeah, I mean, that's probably the most dangerous one. After that, you got the power storage, but this time for demon books. They don't really fuck up your game too much. It's just minus 2,000 stats, which is noticeable, but not the end of the world. Okay, so what else is there? There is also the voodoo curses. If you only get 1, then your attributes will get reduced after 1 minute is up. But if you get 2, it's a very, very solid buff to your stats. Basically almost as good as an Exodia. Well, not quite, but it's 52%. I don't know, they might change it. They keep changing this stuff, so I'm not just gonna mention the percentages. And what else is there that can fuck you up? Alright, the gem risk management. That one can just roll away the stat that you want and give you some shitty stats. I try to avoid that one. I feel like 99% of the time it screws me over. Another potentially dangerous pickup would be the spear, the red spear that gives you extra range but reduces your damage. It's bad on sniper. On magical damage heroes, it's alright, and on heroes that don't do physical damage, that's also fine. So yeah, that's all the dangerous stuff. Everything else is either okay, doesn't do anything, or is actually good. That just depends on what hero you're playing, I suppose. What treasures to prioritize? Well, this one's obviously gonna depend on what heroes you're playing. For supports, like Lone Druid, and by like I mean just Lone Druid, because now Lone Druid is literally the only support in the game. So for Lone Druid you want stats, you want Exodia, you want Strength, you want the HP stuff, and by HP stuff I mostly mean the Intelligence set, which for some reason also gives you HP, but I mean, whatever, it works, I suppose. And for carry heroes, you want crits, you want crit chance, and you want main stat. You also probably wouldn't say no to damage amplitude, which increases your final damage, which is good on every hero. It doesn't matter magical damage, physical damage, it increases everything. And what else would you want? Well, if you can collect Exodia, I guess Exodia could be nice, especially if you are playing the Doctor strat, which I explained in my other videos. You basically want the first Doctor to have the most stats possible. So on that first Doctor you take all the stats that you can get. Doesn't even matter if it's not your main stat. So on rubick you want to take the agility and strength as well as intelligence, just because it will give you more stats, and more stats means better Doctor buff, which you're going to basically cycle through the next 3 Doctors if you do it without breaks. What bow should I summon? Alright, so after the recent rework, the most expensive bow is now 50,000, and you can't really kill that one until you're about, I don't know, 50 to 60 waves in, and you already maxed your income, and you already got a couple rounds worth of boxer. So yeah, obviously those can't be your first bows anymore. Well, what the Chinese stacks are doing, they're summoning the first 2 bows as 10,500 bows, just like before. Obviously they give less of everything now, but well, you still gotta summon some to buff your round income at least a little bit, and I guess get some pitiful stats, just to speed up the process of rushing the early game. And after that you don't really have to do 3 and 4 until you're much stronger, and those ones you can do the max bow ones, the 50k bows. Let's hope they don't change it before I post my video. That would be embarrassing, because I'm definitely not gonna re-record it. Oh well, that's my advice. What does doing chapter 5 plus give? Short answer, nothing. Well, a bit of arrows, but it's not really worth your time unless you're full pay to win and you're more than happy to dedicate over 400 hours to this stupidity. And you're not even gonna get much out of this except, being on the leaderboards, which don't even give anything except bragging rights. Because the arrows you can get from chapters are capped at 4,000 a day. So even though I am like at chapter 300 plus, and I get 2.5k arrows per game, I can still only play 2 chapters per day, and I'll be capped on arrows. Like, there is no point. Just don't do it. Waste of time. Where do I find the timer for the game? Well, there is no inbuilt timer. However, if you go to settings, customize chat wheel, and then I believe go to miscellaneous and select time, you can always use your chat wheel to check how much time has passed since the start of the game. It's very useful for timing tiny, spawn, and also useful to know when it's 15 minutes into the game and you should start saving up wood for the demon merchant, and just overall tracking your progress in the game. It's convenient. I highly recommend you equip that on your chat wheel. Do we have to complete chapter 0, 1, 2, 3 multiple times to get the rewards? Short answer, yes, but you don't have to. Basically, you definitely want the gold per kill, because you don't really have a lot of ways of getting gold per kill at such an early stage at first. So I would recommend you complete that one at least 5 times, and everything after that is optional, because you'll probably start hating the game if you just sit on the same chapter forever. So maybe wait until you're like a lot higher level and you can semi-AFK in the lower difficulties for chapters, because, well, doing the same chapter 20 times is going to be painful. So I definitely don't think you need to do all of those 20 times. That's gonna be it for today. I hope you found this video informative, and if I did miss something that you think is also a common question and isn't obvious, feel free to leave a comment below. I'll answer the comment, I guess. Have a good one.